Well, with the 2026 NFL Draft now in the books, seems like a good time to peer into the crystal ball and look at which draft selections are going to go down as big disappointments. Whether it's because of their limited skill set or the team that they landed with, a handful of highly touted 2026 rookies are not in a position to reach their potential whatsoever. So with that, let's dive into 10 2026 NFL Draft picks who are sure to go down as big-time busts. Ruben Bane Jr. For a while, the Miami Hurricanes edge rusher was expected to be a top 5 pick. According to ESPN, Bane's arm length is the shortest for an edge rusher drafted in the first round since 2003. So he already had the concerns about his physicality and build, and that was only the start of it. Shortly before the draft began, news emerged that Bane had been involved in a serious car accident in 2024 that killed one of the passengers in his car after he rear-ended another vehicle. His friend, 22-year-old Destiny Betts, spent 3 months in a coma before tragically dying. Nonetheless, these concerns didn't stop the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from using the number 15 pick on Bane. After the selection, Bucs GM Jason Light emphasized that the Bucs had been aware of the fatal car accident involving Bane for a while. Still, I don't think it's too early to already think that the Bucs are going to regret this pick. These guys just love using early picks on pass rushers, but can someone tell us how Logan Hall, Joe Tyron Shoyinka, and Kalijah Kancey panned out again? Fair or not, teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and New England Patriots have found success in taking chances on players with off-the-field legal issues or character concerns and turning them into stars. The Buccaneers? Not so much. Bane's short arm length will be a serious problem for him to work around in the NFL. And given that Tampa already had enough pass rushers before the draft, this pick is a red flag in every aspect. Hey, good luck with that, Tampa, because you're really gonna need it. Kenyon Sadique. The Oregon product was the consensus top tight end coming into this year's draft, but there are only so many great tight ends in the NFL these days, so, that's not really saying that much. There were several obvious knocks against Sadique entering the draft. Among them, he is considered relatively small for a tight end at 6'3" and 240 pounds. His production at Oregon wasn't off the charts either. Sadique had his most productive year in 2025, catching 51 passes for 560 yards and 8 touchdowns. Ho-hum. Drops were especially alarming for Sadique at Oregon. So when the New York Jets drafted him 16th overall, yeah, I mean, come on. The joke kind of wrote itself. The Jets cannot find a quarterback to save their lives. Now we're supposed to think that they'll magically unlock the potential of Sadique? Good luck with that. Geno Smith ain't saving this franchise. Also, how many targets can Sadique expect in an offense featuring Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Omar Cooper Jr.? We were excited about Sadique's potential, but quite frankly, the Jets are the worst landing spot for him. So yeah, go ahead and chalk him up as one of the latest Jets draft busts. Caleb Banks. The Minnesota Vikings raised some eyebrows here by using the number 18 pick on Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks, and it felt like a reach given how much his stock had fallen in the weeks leading up to the draft due to a serious foot injury that required surgery. One of our other issues here is that Banks is going to a Minnesota Vikings team that's not exactly renowned for getting the most out of its interior defensive linemen. I mean, last year they signed veteran defensive tackles Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen to big money deals, and both were released at the start of the season. So now you're talking about a player who had up and down production in college, who had a serious foot injury, going to a team that hardly gets the most out of its interior defensive linemen. Plus, recent Minnesota first-round picks like J.J. McCarthy, Dallas Turner, and Jordan Addison haven't exactly lit it up either. Banks would have been a better fit on a team with a stronger roster development. You know, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, Seattle Seahawks, Baltimore Ravens, or Green Bay Packers. The Vikings are sure to thrust him into a starting role come week 1, and that is something that Banks clearly isn't ready for. Malachi Lawrence. The Dallas Cowboys struck gold when they moved up one spot to select Ohio State safety Caleb Downs at number 11 overall. But their second first-round pick, Malachi Lawrence, certainly leaves a lot to be desired. Dallas's makeover on defense since the Micah Parsons trade certainly looks a lot better on paper. Quinnen Williams, Rashawn Gary, and now Caleb Downs. But Malachi Lawrence? Yeah, about that. Dallas could have easily traded down and nabbed Lawrence in round 2. Instead, they reached for a completely unpolished prospect with limited physical abilities and meh production over his tenure at UCF. Remember what happened last time Dallas reached in round 1 for a defensive lineman? Yeah, Maxi Smith didn't exactly pan out. So don't hate on us for already questioning this pick and projecting a disappointing tenure in Dallas. Dejon Stribbling. The San Francisco 49ers traded down from the number 27 spot with the Miami Dolphins. The Fins took San Diego State quarterback quarterback Chris Johnson. The 49ers obtained the number 30 pick and then traded it to the New York Jets, who selected Indiana wideout Omar Cooper Jr. And finally, the 49ers opened up round 2 by selecting Dejon Stribbling, the big-bodied wide receiver out of Ole Miss. We're sure optimistic that San Francisco fans love this pick, but honestly, it's a bit of a head-scratcher to us. Stribbling has talent, sure, but what exactly is he going to do on a star-studded 49ers offense headlined by Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, newcomer Mike Evans, and 2024 first-round pick Ricky Pearsall? This isn't so much a question about Stribbling's skill set as much as it is about his fit in the 49ers offense. Kyle Shanahan's system leans heavily on the ground game and screen passes. Stribbling is a deep threat and contested catch specialist who, one second, reminds us entirely of Mike Evans. Stribbling has the tools to be a star in the league, but the 49ers are not the team for him to maximize his ceiling. Just imagine if he landed on another contender with less offensive weaponry, like the Green Bay Packers, Denver Broncos, Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, or Seattle Seahawks. Maxi Honore. Just when the Pittsburgh Steelers were planning to take USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon at number 21 overall, their Pennsylvania State rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, jumped up one spot via trade to take Lemon at number 20. The Steelers, clearly rattled and panicky, reached for Arizona State defensive tackle Maxi Honore and took him with the number 21 pick. Taking a lineman was the first shocker here. The second aspect of the shocker, well, it was a huge reach, especially with more polished linemen being on the board. The Steelers used 2023 and 2024 first-round picks on offensive linemen Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu, respectively. O-line was far from a pressing need, and yet they reached for a lineman anyway. Make it make sense. Jones hasn't come as advertised, and the jury's still out on Fautanu. Pittsburgh's inability to draft and develop first-round picks in recent years has become very well documented. So, don't blame us for feeling like Honore is a disaster pick waiting to happen. And for all the love that he gets as a steady pass blocker, his run blocking was lackluster at best, as he committed 8 penalties in his final season of college ball per Pro Football Focus. Chris Johnson. More highly regarded cornerbacks like Colton Hood and Avian Terrell were still on the board when the Miami Dolphins took Chris Johnson with the number 27 pick. So not only did we dislike this pick in terms of value, but I mean, come on, the fit itself couldn't be much worse for Johnson. If you go back to 2020, Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert, the Dolphins have been horrific when it comes to day one picks. So pardon us for already thinking that Johnson is going to be a bust simply because he's stuck on a team that clearly does not know how to develop talent. But it was also just a big-time reach for the Dolphins. Again, how do you leave Hood and Terrell on the board? Johnson's knocks include his lack of speed and the fact that he's undersized at 6 feet tall and 193 pounds. And since the Dolphins have one of the worst defensive units in the league, we're skeptical that this is the place for him to maximize his potential. Keelin Rutled. I mean, nobody is surprised when the Houston Texans addressed the offensive line in round 1, but trading up via the Buffalo Bills to reach for Georgia Tech guard Keelin Rutled? Yeah, that one leaves a lot of raised eyebrows. The Texans had plenty of more polished defensive linemen to choose from, and respectfully, this organization has been abhorrent when it comes to developing offensive linemen. Rutledge struggled with penalty issues in his final season at Georgia Tech. His over-aggression was one of Rutledge's main issues in college, and, well, he won't have much support on a lousy Texan squad. Ty Simpson. Simpson entered the 2026 NFL Draft as the consensus number 2 quarterback in this year's class, behind only Fernando Mendoza, who went first overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Los Angeles Rams landed the number 13 pick from the Atlanta Falcons, who had given up their 2026 first-rounder a year earlier to snag James Pierce Jr. With their 2026 first-rounder, the Rams snagged the Alabama quarterback. Rams head coach Sean McVay didn't seem all too thrilled with the pick from GM Les Snead, and that was pretty telling because McVay and Snead usually see eye to eye and have a tremendously successful coach-GM relationship. As Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Jordan Love will happily tell you, it's not the worst idea to find a succession plan in the round 1 if your starting QB is on borrowed time. But there's just a lot about the Simpson pick that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, you know, Matthew Stafford is about to enter his age 38 season. He also hasn't displayed any signs of slowing down though, as evidenced by his MVP award-winning 2025 campaign. With the way that Stafford is playing, shouldn't the Rams have prioritized drafting a player who could help them win now? Plus, I mean, it's not like Simpson is a sure thing to succeed. He comes from the Alabama QB factory. Weren't Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones supposed to be the real deal? Bryce Young doesn't look like a superstar, now does he? In his final college season, Simpson threw for 3,567 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Good? Sure. but also any Alabama starting quarterback should be putting up such numbers. Simpson could be waiting 2 to 3 years to succeed Stafford in LA. And with his limited skill set and ceiling, being a top 15 pick just seems like poor value on the Rams' end. Add it all up, and it just already feels like he could go down as a mega bust in La La Land. Remember, Stetson Bennett was once viewed as Stafford's successor in LA, and I think we all know how that went. KC Concepcion. The Texas A&M product was widely projected to be a mid to late round first pick, and sure enough, the Cleveland Browns drafted him at number 24 overall. For us, this isn't so much a Concepcion issue as much as a Cleveland issue. I mean, come on, his talent and skill set are undeniable. Unfortunately for him, he landed on one of the few teams that has no idea how to draft and develop skill position guys. We kept drawing up scenarios of Concepcion landing on an established contender like the Philadelphia Eagles or Buffalo Bills. But instead, Concepcion is stuck on a team that has Shedeur Sanders and Dylan freaking Gabriel as its quarterbacks. Yippee! Yeah, this is a guy that had to go to an actual contender to maximize his potential, not a consistent bottom feeder like the Browns. Also, I mean, come on, Concepcion will be competing with Jerry Jeudy, Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin Jr., and fellow rookie wideout Denzel Boston for targets. Now, try telling us why the Browns are a good fit for him. But hey, which other 2026 NFL draft prospects will be big-time busts? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.